I wish I could tell you I made one brave choice and my life snapped into place. But the truth is messier. It started with a thumb slip, a single tap at 6:42 a.m. on a Tuesday, and everything I thought I knew about my job, my future, my worth went spinning like a coin on a glass table. I'm Riley Carter, social media coordinator at North Star Dynamics in Seattle, the sleek, glass and steel kind of company that sells the future in keynote slides. That morning, I meant to post my baby's ultrasound to my private account just to a few friends who knew I was 13 weeks along, nauseous, terrified, still practicing how to say I'm doing this alone without sounding small. One tap, the wrong icon, and boom, the black and white jelly bean of a heartbeat landed on North Star's official page, the one followed by VC's reporters. And yes, our CEO, Evan Hale. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Likes, retweets, the works, and then one name that punched the oxygen out of me. Evan Hale liked your post. The guy who never smiled in elevators. The guy who once told an assistant you're 5 minutes early, which means you were late to something else. I could hear my rent, my medical bills, my whole future loading into a cannon. By 9:03, I had an email, 12 words that felt like a verdict. See me. 10:00 a.m. My office. E. Hale. The elevator ride to the top floor felt like ascending into thin air. His assistant barely glanced up. I stepped into the corner office with the Space Needle framed like it had been hired to stand there. Evan didn't turn. At first he stood with his hands in his pockets, the sound of the city faint through the glass. "Ms. Carter," he said, turning eyes an unreadable blue. "Sit." "I'm so sorry," I blurted, stomach hot with shame. "It was meant for my personal page. I took it down. I canceled an investor briefing because of your post." He cut in cool, but not cruel. My throat closed. "I understand. Do you—" He watched me a second, then asked, "How far along?" That threw me. 13 weeks. "Sir, and the other parent?" "Not in the picture," I said. "But I'm not asking North Star for special treatment. My metrics are up. My campaigns hit deadlines." He looked out at the city again, then said very quietly, "My wife and I lost a baby. Week 20. We didn't make it as a couple after that. We were separated when she died a year later. People think grief is clean, but it leaks into places you didn't know had seams." The room held its breath. "I'm sorry," I said the words, feeling too small. "When I saw your post," he said, "I remembered how alone it felt. No one should have to choose between a paycheck and a pregnancy." He turned back to me, business mode snapping on. "Effective today, full medical coverage for expecting parents, 12 weeks paid leave, flexible scheduling, remote options. We should have done this already." He paused. "And Ms. Carter, I'm moving you to community partnerships, 30% raise. You'll build the program you wish existed." I left that office lightheaded, not safe, not yet, but steadier. People in marketing side-eyed me like I'd hacked the planet. In a week, the rumor had a face: favoritism. My best friend Tasha called it what it was, jealousy with nicer shoes, but still whispers find soft spots. Evan and I met weekly to plan the rollout. Behind the armor, he was careful, funny in that dry way that sneaks up on you. He noticed when I stood to ease the back pain, slid a sticky note with a door code across the table. "Wellness room, massage chair no one uses," he said, like he was handing me state secrets. When he heard I kept forgetting iron tablets, a box showed up: prenatal vitamins. His cousin's company supposedly formulated blueberry-ish instead of fishy. "No pressure," he said, "just better stuff." When the Children's Health Gala came up, he asked if I'd attend for optics. He said, eyes saying something else and then looking away. So I squeezed into a navy dress that made me feel like a polished version of myself and walked into the art museum on his arm. People stared the way people do when a story is writing itself in their heads. He leaned down, voice low, steady. "Ignore them. They owe us money." We'd just started to enjoy it when a red-dress comet sliced through. "Evan Hale," she purred, smiling sharp. "Laughing at a gala world's ending." He stiffened. "Naomi," he said. "My ex-sister-in-law." She looked me over with a kind of pretty cruelty. "So you're the one changing his calendar," she said. Then to me, he forgets to mention things like how he was divorced before the tragedy he leads with. The air dropped 10 degrees. Evan's jaw ticked. Naomi? He said a warning in 2 syllables. She shrugged, walked away like she'd just flicked a match. Is that true? I asked. He guided me to a quieter corner near a glass sculpture that looked like frozen lightning. Yes, he said, eyes finding mine. I told you the grief part, not the whole map. We were separated. I should have told you all of it. For the first time, he looked unsure, like the floor might be less solid than he assumed. I opened my mouth to ask more, and then pain knifed through my stomach. Sharp, blinding wrong. Evan, I said, grabbing his arm. Something's not right. The next minutes were sirens disguised as footsteps, his hand on my back. His voice clipped and controlled the car. The hospital lights too bright to be kind. The words the doctor used were clinical, impossible, placental abruption. My baby's heartbeat was steady. Mine was trying to climb out of my chest. Evan didn't leave. He worked from a chair by my bed, tie loosened eyes on the monitor like it held the moon. A nurse with 30 years of other people's stories leaned in and whispered, "Honey, I've seen bosses. That's not what this is." On the second day, a new specialist walked in, tall, composed with that patrician calm money wears like a cologne. "Dr. Cole Harrington," he said smoothly. Evan went still. "Harrington," he repeated like an old bruise had just been pressed. "As in Redwood Biolabs." "My father," the doctor said. "Small world." After he left, Evan said, "Redwood's our main competitor on a prenatal line. They pulled out of a partnership last week. I don't believe in coincidences." He stepped into the hall to scorch the phone with calls. When he came back, he closed the door and sat like a confession was a heavy living thing. "Riley," he said, voice rough, "those prenatal vitamins I gave you, they're from our in-house R+D. My cousin distributed samples while we pursued approval. Early data looked excellent. Then there were a few cases, complications like yours. Small numbers, but real. Redwood has similar issues. Cole is here to make ours look worse." My blood went cold. "You gave me something that wasn't approved yet," I said, each word tasting metallic. "You made a decision for my body without telling me. I thought I wanted—" He started, then stopped. "I was wrong. I want a new specialist," I told the nurse. Dr. Harrington's smile didn't crack, but his eyes did. He left. My hands shook for an hour. The next morning, Evan brought a thick folder and the kind of tired that can't be hidden by a pressed shirt. "We're pulling the supplement," he said. Full stop. Redwood agreed to join a joint study under a federal review board. No one sells anything until we know what's causing the risk. Here's everything: research, trials, emails. You get the whole truth, not just the part that flatters me. I stared at the folder, then at him. "You cared so much you forgot about consent," I said. "That's not love. That's control dressed up as care." He swallowed. "I know. I've run my life by spreadsheets and outcomes for so long. I thought resources could fix anything. But I can't logic my way around what I did. I'm sorry, and I'll spend as long as it takes making it right if you let me, and even if you don't." The bleeding slowed, the monitor's song softened. I got discharged with orders to rest, and a home health aide showed up like magic because Evan can conjure people with a phone call. He kept his distance because I asked him to, and because maybe he needed to learn how. At North Star, policies changed, like the weather finally broke a childcare center. Real leave, flexible hours, actual humanity. People called it the Carter effect behind my back. I hated it, and loved that I hated it. When I came back to work, whispers followed, different now, sticky with curiosity. Evan asked to see me. He stood when I walked in, a small thing, but sometimes that's how respect looks. "I've recused myself from anything that touches your role," he said. "No more gray areas. Your career is yours." "And us?" I asked because the word had been living in my throat. He exhaled a laugh with the humor removed. "I want a life with you, Riley, but I don't get to want it out loud unless you do too. Dinner, no speeches, no headlines, no emergencies. I'll start there if you will." We did. Slow, clumsy, honest. We learned to argue in daylight instead of the dark. Months later, I sat in a rocking chair in a different high-rise, our baby sleeping against my chest, the city blinking like it finally believed in second chances. Evan came in with that look he saves for us and said softly, "How are my girls?" He created a foundation in our daughter's name for single parents, not because it polishes a brand, but because he finally understood system weight and how it presses on people like me. One night he got on one knee with an emerald ring, my birthstone, not tradition, and asked me to marry him. I said yes, because love is not perfection, it's repair work. And we were doing the work. Here's the part I won't sugarcoat. He crossed a line with those vitamins. He did. That's a fact stitched into our story like a scar. I chose to forgive, not because he's rich or powerful or handsome in a way that photographs well, but because he told the full truth, took the consequences, and changed how he uses power. That's the difference between an apology and a pivot. So now I want to hear you. If you were me, a single mom who posted the wrong thing at the worst time, would you forgive a man who helped you hurt you and then rebuilt the ground beneath both your feet? Or would you walk and call it justice? Is corporate care ever free from strings, or can people with power learn to use it right? Drop a comment. Tell me the moment you felt the switch, the line where concern becomes control, and whether you think I drew it in the right place. If you've seen workplaces handle pregnancy with grace or cruelty, share it. Because somewhere someone's thumb is hovering over a post and the whole room is about to go quiet.